Hello, this is Everything Entertainment, and this is my Rick and Morty Season 9, Episode 1 review. And this is a great episode for many reasons. It is well balanced, it brings back all the characters except Space Beth, because apparently the writers hate Space Beth. Just kidding, kind of, but whatever. And yeah, Evil Morty returned this episode. And yeah, he's pretty amazing, but also pretty funny at the same time. Like, he's the perfect blend of being a smart character while also being kind of a like jackass to the point where like you don't like him, like you don't want to like him, but he's funny and pretty cool. But by the end of the episode, he's no different from Morty, which he was on some level superior from Rick and Morty's in the multiverse, but he ended up being similar to our Morty in a lot of ways, like fighting for Rick's attention to some point. But yeah, this episode was just really good for a multitude of reasons. For starters, the animation was really good. Like the start, the halfway part of the episode, we get like a great fight with the character called the Collective, which is supposed to be like a Marvel reference to I don't know his name, but like yeah, it's a Marvel reference for sure. Yeah, that fight with the Collective was really amazing, way better animated than they need to be. And the second half of the fight, or the second half of the episode, also well animated, with the second half being even more, which is the Smith family. Like that was an amazing fight on itself. So yeah, it was just great animation wise for the episode. Not gonna lie. They really just gave us a perfect opener for this season, which I was shocked that we were gonna get Evil Morty. Like they did not hit this in the trailer at all, if I remember correctly. So yeah, Evil Morty returning was great to see. The reason it was great to see Evil Morty in this episode was basically because he's smart like Rick, but Rick would never want a Morty as smart, if not smarter than him. So it kind of makes the episode entertaining because Morty, our Morty, C-137 Morty, pretty jealous of Evil Morty, even though he doesn't really need to be jealous. Even when Evil Morty and Rick ended the episode on good terms, it's not something Morty had to be jealous of, even though I understand why he is. But Rick would never want a Morty as smart, if not smarter than him, or pretty much any Morty that isn't his Morty. Like, yeah, he will hang out with other Mortys and Wicks or whatever, but he still would want this Morty and this Jerry and this Beth and this Space Beth. Like, he still want his family, even though they're all like pretty much not all of them, but a large chunk of them are from different places, which is funny to realize that they're not the original Morty's, Wicks, and Beth, but they're like, hey, we're family and we love each other. So yeah, pretty much the reason why this episode is great is because it breaks down Evil Morty character and what he thinks. Because he didn't need to go out his way to pretty much antagonize, like team up with Rick. He did it. He doesn't really care for the central finite curve as much as we believe. Like yes, destroying the curve on some level is technically a priority. I'm not 100% sure, but what makes him wanting to hang out with Rick is that Rick is actually one of the good Ricks in the multiverse. Like he does on some level respects Mortys. Like a lot of Ricks just view Mortys as pieces to their lives, like extra tool that they can use. Well, C-137 Rick Alec pretty much respect Morty on some level, even though he talked trash to him, like especially earlier in this show. Like he did, like Rick does care for Morty. He just really doesn't really show it that much. He used accent instead of words, and then he used words every now and then, which makes us forget that he is a good person. But back to Evil Morty. What makes Evil Morty interesting this episode is how he's not that different from our Morty. Like I said, he didn't need to go up and team up with Rick to beat the Collective. That's something he could have done by himself. They just have fun going around blasting pretty much gods, multi-level gods, threats. Like he just liked hanging around with Rick pretty much. But he didn't really need Rick to beat the guy. He just likes Rick to hang out with. Like he just respects and value his intelligence or something. I know Rick does respect and value evil money's intelligence, even though he tries to talk him every 5 minutes and make fun of his tech and weapons every now and then. But he does respect and value Evil Morty on some level. And the same for Evil Morty because he was so hard in this episode. Well, he didn't need to. Like by the end of the episode, he ended up in space prison, different from prison that Rick went to. Like at least he can move around and stuff. So he's definitely returning. But what separates Evil Morty from like what makes Evil Morty the same as our Morty is essentially he wants a Rick. He just wants to spend time with someone. He can't beat that his DNA. Like he didn't need to fight Rick and Morty. He could have just let it go. Like he could have just let it go, take the L that Rick outsmarted him because of his own arrogance for letting Rick go out and destroy the weapon. Then I can't think of the name right now. But yeah, the racing weapon. But he decided, no, I really want to. No, Mega Device, yeah. To destroy the Mega Device. He could have took the L, but he decided to go and fight them, which he really probably could have won if he threw everything at them. Don't get me wrong, we gotta see a lot of his new weapons, especially that teleporting device like move he did in the fight. That was just like the coolest thing I saw in the show, like walking and being teleported. That's like so much awe. Like even though that sounds cheesy, that was just so cool. Like he didn't need to fight Rick and Morty in this episode. Like funny enough, he was trying to kill Rick, but it wasn't a permanent thing. At least I don't think it was. But if he did, he had to do that whole evil Rick, like the not the wicked Rick, like the evil Rick they killed like a season ago. Like he had to go through that whole process. I thought that he was, and even though Rick won, he didn't cheat. He just didn't want to kill Evil Morty. Like he pretty much hinted the time clock to come and pick him up essentially. So yeah, he wasn't trying to kill. They were trying to. Evil Morty was trying to kill Rick, but not permanently. And Rick was trying to just, but like not kill Evil Morty, even though he did. Like the scale was huge. I don't know how to put it in words, but yeah, they wasn't trying to kill each other in my opinion. Even though they really was going for killing blows. But yeah, I keep saying but yeah a lot. But yeah, Evil Morty could have avoided space prison if he just took the L. But he was really didn't want to. He wanted to be a different kind of Morty or the evilest Morty. But he's not that different. He's just happy to be smarter than our Morty, being able to say his words more correctly, do his homework by himself, and not chase girls so often. At least that we know of. Like he just happened to be a Morty that has brain intelligence that can protect themselves. But like if he wanted to be different, he could just not care about this whole situation, but he did. By the end of the episode, he realized, or we realized, or everybody realized, he does like Rick. He like hanging out with him. He does care for them. And Morty cocked him with that snap. Yeah, as a Evil Morty episode, as his last appearance for now, because I don't know if he's gonna make one in a season or maybe he might come back in a small movie like the movie that's come out. I think he might. I don't know, but yeah, if this is last appearance, at least for next season, it was a good way to introduce his character and showcase more of his faces because this whole Evil Morty thing was pretty cool and I actually had pretty much moderate expectation for it. But for a single episode, it works. But also, this is Rick and Morty' biggest problem. To wrap up this video, I give the solid Rick and Morty premiere easily a 9 out of 10. Maybe a 10 out of 10. I don't know. It's one of the better premieres. And Rick and Morty really can make great premieres and great episodes, and this showcase it. And honestly, I really liked this episode because it just gave us more Evil Morty, gave us great fights, and even showcase what we can get in the future with more time travel. Because you don't, like, I know that Rick doesn't mess with time travel, but he have been shown to mess with time travel, so he's not afraid to abuse it, especially to his own benefit, like he did in this episode. And the fact that they were more friendly terms, Evil Morty may become like an adopted brother to the Smith family. If they can have two moms, they can have two Mortys. That's all I'm gonna say. So yeah, if you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.